Mindfully dealing with solar flare stress. I think that's one of the most overlooked areas in relation to the sun. And there's a lot of information about the solar kill shot, which is valid, and it's not an event that's limited to the 2012 timeline. We're beyond that, and we're now at the maximum portion of the cycle, and I think the next cycle is going to have some surprises for us. But solar flare stress is something that is not widely known to the general public of the world. These trends with world wars, countries being invaded, drive-by shootings, domestic violence, accidents on the road, and other things. And not all of them are negative. When we see these changes, I see changes in society. Some of them are positive. I see people going in new directions, starting businesses in particular. I see a theme here with people starting businesses during heightened solar activity. Actually, I met a young guy today in Alamosa who I keep bumping into him for some reason in Alamosa. But he was showing me his art gallery today, and he has a good deal for it. It's $450, and he has a plan, and he's focused, and he's also working at the coffee shop. And I didn't get into the stuff with him, but I'm just seeing like, there we go. We've got solar energy. We've got a guy focused, starting a business. And the other thing that I see happen a lot is mass migrations. I'm always moving during solar flares, or unfortunately having a falling out with someone because of some reason, a miscommunication. There's a lot of denial about this. There is massive denial that we're affected by the sun, and that the sun can trigger certain episodes. And then when the sun calms down, you'll notice the episode will fade. So right now is a hot time. There's a lot of stuff that people are sharing on their Facebook page dealing with particular trauma and drama relating to their family. I thought I was the only one dealing with a complicated Christmas as I was evacuating Trinidad to come to Alamosa. And I'm glad things worked out for me. We'll see where I go after I leave this place next week. All that is yet to be written, but I see a trend in myself with projects starting and also moving on to different projects, leaving certain projects, moving. But as far as the stress, I want to give some basic tips. Not that I'm a perfect person, not that I apply this myself, but our body's made of energy. You've heard of chi, you've heard of ki, you've heard of prana. So what I feel in spirit, and then I've gone and I've looked online to verify if this is true, our energy fields, or our auras, are bombarded with this excess energy. So what do? Breathe. There's many things we can do, but we'll start with meditation. Find a meditation practice that works for you if you are someone that's adversely affected by the sun. To calm yourself down, there's diaphragm breathing. I made a connection with a guy named Kit Sirius. He runs a website called Middle Alchemy. And in that website that he runs from Australia, there are certain Tai Chi exercises that he's doing, and that helps move the energy throughout the body, especially when you're focusing on it being transmitted out of your hands. And so you see a lot of these movements in Tai Chi that are very slow and very deliberate, yet very carefully and specifically done without haste. Martial arts is a great exercise. It's not all about violence just because of what you see on TV. I've met a whole lot of people in this world that they get into that stuff and they have a violent mentality, and there's people that view martial arts training as a violent thing. And I've always trained, not on a regular basis, but I've always trained in some way since I was 13. And when I'm training, and when I'm shadow boxing, and when I'm kicking above my waist, and I'm getting right about at neck level, and I'm moving and I'm circling, I feel this rush. It has nothing to do with anger or violence. It's a rush of letting the energy just pour out. Dancing, ballet, modern dance. I'm not a dancer myself. Perhaps as I grow older, I may explore the dancing side of Alex Ansary, but that has not yet happened. To watch me dance is probably one of the funniest things you have ever seen in your life. We all remember that Seinfeld episode, and she's dancing like this, and well, I'm not that bad, but I'm pretty close. But whatever, do you need to dance for someone? You don't need to dance for someone. You can bring up your favorite YouTube video and you can just move your body around. So meditation, martial arts, dancing, yoga, qigong, things like that can all help you deal with solar flare stress. Diet's important. In the last couple weeks, I haven't been eating very well. The stress of what's happened to me recently, I didn't eat for about 2 or 3 days. I just ate fruit. Part of the reason that I just ate fruit is that my body did not want to eat meat. I do eat meat. The last couple days, I didn't want to eat meat. I did not want to eat a Hot Pocket. I am not perfect. I do sometimes dabble with the GMO delight of the week. Oh yes, the Saturday night GMO special of the week. And it takes a toll. So healthy water, especially water that's been filtered, and maybe water that's been restructured by the sun hitting the water, maybe put the water in a glass container, all of this is healthy for your body. Organic fruits and vegetables, very important. Things like quinoa and whole grains, also very, very important. If you eat a lot of dead flesh during these particular times, you might have some complications. So I'm speculating just basically on what I suspect and feel intuitively, that eating dead meat, eating bad food, and meat, of course, varies in quality depending on where you're buying the meat. But if you're buying meat that's been put through the factory and all this trauma, drama, and all that, and the drugs and the pain and suffering, we can maybe take that pain and suffering into our body. There's a reason why some people are vegetarians. But this isn't a video to convince you to not eat meat, but to consider that during these particular points in time that you spend a little bit more focus on your diet. And you might find that you're not hungry at all. But it is good at least to eat pears, bananas, apples. A lot of those things can be found in most grocery stores today. Unless you have the money, it's more difficult to get organic strawberries. And some say, we really shouldn't be eating that unnaturally. And there's a lot of slaves around the world that are picking our fruits and vegetables for us. Some of them are organic. If you look at the acai berry, it's basically contributing to massive deforestation. And there are people that have died and hurt themselves crawling way up to feed us the acai berry, to bring us the acai berry. And so we have to also take some of those things into consideration. Eat what you can, and you can get deep into this. People get into eat local, local foods from your area, honey, things of that nature. So I think that this is important advice. We talked about meditation. We talked about body movements. We talked about the different exercises, qigong, tai chi. There's different forms of yoga, martial arts, different forms of that. And of course different forms of dancing and other physical exercise. Maybe you're a skier and that's what really connects you to Source. I know my friend Ryan out in the desert, he's all about, that is his spiritual experience, and that's just awesome. I got to do some skiing myself. I don't know if it's going to happen this winter, but one of these years I'm going to put those skis on. Just a matter of getting the equipment. So the next thing that I want to throw in, now that we just went into diet, is projects. Starting a project. I met a young man in Alamosa today. For some reason I keep bumping into him. But he works at the coffee shop here, and he just opened an art gallery. He was really happy about that. He's got great rent at $450. It's right down there on State Street or Main Street. And he was really optimistic. And I didn't talk about the solar flares, but as I looked at him and his optimism, it's been a few months since I've seen him, I thought about the solar flares. Here is a person channeling that extra energy in a positive way. So I've definitely seen trends with businesses opening around these particular points in time. Relationships can be really complicated during these times. People can get hurt really easily. Why? Because the smallest things can set us off. It's true. The smallest things can set someone off during something. And how is that? Why is that? Because if someone's angry at you and they're throwing anger at you, you can actually feel it in your chakras. My chakras, my energy centers, and I know some of you may think that this is some sort of perverted New Age teaching, but we do have energy body centers in our body, okay? And I can feel them. I'm not in denial that I can feel my hand, I can feel my mouth moving, I can feel my foot on my foot right now as I do this video. I can also feel all 7 energy centers in my body, more than I could in the past. But in particular, I feel stress in the energy centers when I go through certain things and certain traumas. And I actually have to spend days and days pushing it out of my body. And I highly recommend, in terms of meditation, you look at things like grounding meditations. You can find videos on running energy and grounding on YouTube to learn more about that. The other thing that I notice is mass migrations. You know, people just saying, you know what, it's time to get up and go. And what that's coming from is the fact that the coronal mass ejections, the solar flares, the solar radiation is impacting our Earth's magnetic field, and through that it's affecting us. We're also affected electrically by the sun in terms of being able to feel it when the sun erupts. And that's more of an electrical thing, and that only takes a few minutes. So you may find the energy to pack your stuff up and go somewhere, a new adventure, things of that nature. And you may also feel, let's be blunt, you may also feel hornier. And there's no true replacement for lovemaking, to making love to someone. Lust is one thing, and that could be fun for some people, lustful acts and whatnot. But actually making love with someone and exchanging that energy, I think it could be a very beautiful thing during a solar flare. So there's a few things for you to think about. You don't have to be a victim of this. You can be mindful. You can ground. You can do exercise. You can train. You can start projects. You can write. Explore that creative aspect of yourself. Pour out what's in your mind. Some of you are feeling this right now. Ooh, maybe I should write something, do a website. Exactly, you're feeling it. Some people use terms like empath or sensitive. There's a reason for that. Some of us are more sensitive to certain things. Is it our star sign, or is it our soul, or is it something else, or is it a combination of all the factors and more? I think it's definitely a combination of all the factors and more in my case. So I hope you take a look at some of these things. Maybe in the future I'll write an article out that kind of lays some of these things out. I really can reach more people if I spend my time writing more. The YouTube videos are great, but and I enjoy talking. I'm more of a talker than a typer, but I enjoy being a writer as well, and have that side of myself that I want to express more and more and more as I grow older. So thank you very much for watching. There's definitely a lot of things you can learn now on your own in relation to some of these things, and basically it's our responsibility to be healthy, and hopefully these tips will help people deal with some of these solar stresses that they may be feeling. Thank you for watching.